Good afternoon, everyone. Josh, are we ready to go for our friends joining us via Zoom? Thank you for joining us today as we introduce the newest members of the Detroit Pistons, who will no doubt play an important role in the future of the franchise. Joining us today for this introduction and press availability, we're pleased to have Pistons owner Tom Gores, General Manager Troy Weaver, Head Coach Dwayne Casey, and the newest members of the Pistons roster. We're also pleased to be joined by members of the Pistons front office and 25 youngsters from Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeast Michigan. Earlier today, the Pistons organization announced a multi-year partnership and philanthropic grant that will help fund the nonprofit's newest industry club focused on exposing youth to career opportunities in sports and entertainment and building career development. Let's give these youngsters a round of applause. As part of this press availability, we'll have some brief remarks from Mr. Gores, Troy, Dwayne, and our newest Pistons players. And after those remarks, I'll open the panel to a question and answer period. A couple of housekeeping items to make the event go smoothly. Following today's joint Zoom press conference, we'll make links available. And to our people joining on Zoom, please mute your lines while the speakers are talking. When I open the Q&A, please use the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen, and our Zoom moderator will call on you for questions. Remember to unmute yourself and when you ask your questions, please identify your name and affiliation. And with those housekeeping items complete, let's move forward. We're pleased to be joined today by Pistons owner Tom Gores, who continues to provide our basketball and business operation with all the necessary tools to succeed on a daily basis. Mr. Gores, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn the conference over to you on this exciting day for our organization.
All right. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's great to be here. It's been a bit, and I have notes today because I'm just not even sure I could pull anything off right now. It's been a bit with the pandemic and everything. Before we get started and celebrate, what's happening, and just really good thoughts and well wishes to everybody through this pandemic. I think Detroit has responded really, really well. And Dwayne and Troy, just with the players, last year you did just tremendous work. But it's an exciting day, and it's nice to really be able to celebrate. We're very fortunate to be here. For the fans, it's an exciting day. I think these 4 young men here, congratulations. You have to understand, you are NBA players today. You own this moment, and you have earned this moment. So I'm very, very excited for these 4 young men. And at the same time, and you guys have family members out here and so on, I know what it takes, and whatever you guys did along the way, great job on that. And we know that there's a support system, Kate and I have talked about that, that helps you be great. And I'm sure each one of you, even the toughest guy here, Cannon, I'm sure you cried at some point for this. So as much as, it's a serious moment, I think enjoy the emotions of it. And I'm sure you've all cried before you got here. And if you're not crying now, you probably should soon. So it's really, Dwayne and I always talk about in my house, we say, nothing good comes easy. And when you accept that, that it's all about hard work and so on. At the same time, I want to let you know is to the families, as these young men go forward, they're in great hands. The Pistons organization cares, and we understand the business of basketball, but we're still family, and we have respect. And these 2 young men next to me, I feel comfortable being able to say that because they're on the ground making sure these young men will be okay. So, we'll all have tough times and so on, but they're in good hands. The fans, the city, we're in great shape. I think we're You know, I think last year, our players, I think incredible growth and so on. And a big thanks to those guys because I don't know what players we have here today, but just the tremendous effort last year to create a core and a culture. So I think we're in great shape, and I think we had a lot of time to talk to the players, Kevin, and I think we have a Q&A and so on. And also, hey, number one pick, I mean, we have to acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just. It is very exciting, but I will tell you, we can move in, Kevin, but I will tell you that even though everybody thought Cade was going to be the number one pick, just like he's done his whole life, he earned it with us too. And these two men grinded with Cade, and he's everything that everybody writes he is, and more. I mean, he is a natural leader. So, and we can talk about it, and I know each of you have a story, because I did get a chance to spend time with Cade. You know, just a tremendous young man. So I just want to celebrate that number one pick, and for our luck and fortune to get that.
Thank you, Mr. Gores. Since joining the Pistons over a year ago, Troy has been aggressive in every facet of roster development. The work on this year's draft was no different. Troy, thanks again for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Kevin. Good afternoon, Detroit. This is my second draft here, and I'm just as excited today as I was last year when we brought in 4 young men. And the common theme remains the same. I said, they asked after the season, what would we look for in the draft? And I said, we're just going to double down on what we did last year. We wanted hard-working, selfless, competitive guys who were about the right things. And I will always contend, you can debate the player, but you're not going to debate the person. And we got the right people up here. And to restore this Piston organization, you have to have the right people. And led by Mr. Gores and Arn and Coach, and these young men, as Mr. Gores said, we're in great shape. But I couldn't be prouder of these 4 young men as people that should give us some rest that we're heading in the right direction. But we had all these guys in. We did our homework on them. Incredible human beings, and they're about the right things. And that's going to be our mantra here. We're going to continue to be about the right things. We're going to be competitive. We're going to be consistent, but it's going to be high character guys. And these guys embody that, and their family should be proud of the young men that they've become, and kudos to their families for helping these young men develop into who they are. So for me, I'm just excited about these young men here as people, and we know they can play, but the people here are what enables us to continue to restore this franchise. And my job is to make sure we bring in people that you guys can be proud of, and give Coach young men that'll come in and tee it up every day, so he doesn't have to go looking for guys. And Coach is saying all the time is, you know, it's easy to say, it's harder to say whoa and giddy up. And these 4 guys over here, they giddy up. So I'm proud of them. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Troy. Dwayne, I know you're anxious to get these young guys on the floor, so why don't you give us a couple words on each guy as a player?
Well, first of all, I want to reiterate what Tom and Troy said to the parents. I mean, you should be proud I know it's a long journey. I know what it's like to go and watch my son grow. I know Troy's gone through it, and Tom's gone through it, watching their kids grow and go through sports. And this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate goal. And I know the trials and tribulations that a lot of you have gone through to get them to this point. So our hats are off to you, and I promise you, as Tom and Troy said, that they're in good hands. They may not like me every day. They may be mad at me sometimes, but I promise you it's for their own good. And it's for our, it's putting us in a position for themselves first and then the team to win. So, but congratulations for that, because, it's a long journey, and they've made it, and it's a tribute to you to get them to this point. For us, it's like what Tom and Troy also said, we have good people. That's one thing that Troy said that he was bringing in. Not to say that past players were not good people, but we have high character, talented men. And it started last year, and it's continuing this year. To give you an example, Isaiah came in to visit, and my son was in there. And, my son was peeping in, watching us talk, and I'm interviewing Isaiah about his family and where he's from, and played at University of Michigan. And my son wrote a note and slid it under the door. And I looked at it, and I don't know if Isaiah remembered it or not. I do. He said, "Dad, we got to recruit him. He's a nice guy." So he didn't care about playing or anything like that. And kids are honest. They're honest, and they'll tell you the truth. And that's what we have here is 4 men that fit the mold of a Detroit Piston. They're gritty, they want to grind it, they enjoy the grind, and that's what we're looking forward to here, is to have guys like that each and every day. And those 4 men will set in well. And as Tom said, we hit them all hard, and we hit Cade extra hard, just to make sure he was in the family. And he passed the test. He passed the test. And I didn't know if we'd ever see him again after Arn got through with him. I didn't know Arn could be as tough, but he was on him hard too. But he passed the test, and again, it was nothing, but we just wanted to make sure when we hit all the guys, hit Luka and Isaiah and Balsa, all the guys that come through. And all of them have a different skill set, but one thing that's common is they're all good men. And they're going to fit in well, and they're in good hands, and we have high hopes for them all.
Thanks, Dwayne. And without further ado, let's meet the players. Gentlemen, I'm going to call on each of you just to give a few of your thoughts on being here in Detroit and the Pistons organization. And Cade, we'll start with you.
Cade Cunningham. First, I just want to say, more than thrilled to be here, to, finally see some faces around Detroit. And just to kind of soak in, the moment, and I've worked really hard to get to this point. And once I, heard Detroit winning the lottery, I mean, my mind was on Detroit. I wanted to be in Detroit, and so I was stuck on that. And they definitely tested me. They didn't leave any stone unturned. But I appreciate that, because number one pick is a lot of responsibility. It's a big job. But knowing that the front office and coach are so thorough about this process, I know that they really care about winning and really care about restoring the Pistons and really care about taking the next step. So more than happy to be here. Excited to see everybody's faces. And yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's Isaiah. I'm just excited to be back home, man. I was played down the street at Michigan, and once I knew Pistons on the clock, 42, me, my dad, my mom, we were like, let's stay home, why not? And what Casey and Weaver got going on over here is something I want to be a part of, because it's about to be some talent. Like they used the word restore, perfect. When I was in my interviews, I was like, restore. I like that better than rebuild as well. So, restore Detroit, get it back to where it's supposed to be, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm Luka Garza. I'm just really, really thankful. and grateful to the organization for taking a chance on me and giving me an opportunity. And that's all I needed ever in my life. And I always feel like I'm going to work as hard as I can to maximize my potential on and off the floor. So I look forward to being able to do that here. And again, I'm just really grateful to be here.
My name is Balša Koprivica. I'm from Serbia, and I'm just grateful for this opportunity, especially having a chance to meet the great staff and everybody from Detroit. My workout here earlier this month, I just fell in love with the people. Everybody was just felt like family, and everybody was just great people around here. So when I got my name called, I was really happy to get an opportunity to play for this amazing organization.
1 second, too. Just a PSA. Can you teach them how to pronounce your last name?
So I know most people will probably think it's Koprivica, but it's like a Koprivica, like a pizza but with a V at the end. So
There we go. There we go. There we go. Come on, nobody messing that up.
He said,
I just wanted to say, a special thank you to Sydney Daly, for giving the organization her blessing to allow me to wear, my traditional number and number 2. That means so much to me, and, I know how much these numbers mean up there. I know that, the people that came before me really built something special in Detroit, and, those legacies live on forever. So, I want to wear that number 2 with respect to Mr. Chuck Daly, a legend forever, and, I don't want that name to ever die, and I want to, rebuild what he's got going on, what he had going on in Detroit, and, bring that same energy that the Bad Boys, Pistons, and the teams that he led, bring that same energy back to the Pistons today. So, special thank you to Miss Sydney Daly. I'm beyond honored for that number and beyond honored for, getting your blessing for that.
Thanks, guys. At this time, we'll open the panel to a question and answer. For our media on Zoom, remember to use the raise hand function. We'll start with the limited media that we were allowed to have here with us in person. And if you can raise your hand, we have a mic going around, and just use your name and affiliation. So we'll open it up to questions. First, we'll go to Keith Langlois.
Hey, Keith Langlois, Pistons.com. Tom, this summer marks the 10th year anniversary of your purchasing the Pistons. I'm wondering, over that time, have you ever felt more optimistic about the organization top to bottom, and what would be your reasoning for that?
Yeah, I mean, I've never felt better, Keith. I mean, and I think it's not just because we're up here with these, great men. I think we've been working at it. I think last year was, for our team, a really growth year. We've got a great coach in Dwayne. I mean, you guys are in great hands with him. He's tough, he's strong, but he's one of the most, compassionate, empathetic people, because, we all need that, regardless of how, difficult things are. We always need that compassion too. He just doesn't have that, just toughness. Troy, I mean, we've only known each other just over a year, but it seems like 20. So I can imagine how your wife feels. I mean, it's like, it's got to be over 100. But, he's intense. Through this process, he just went through everything. Like, he didn't care what he read, what he saw. He just needed to see it himself. He's a guy that gets on the ground. This last year, he went to every game, COVID or not, and really got the players to embrace him. They work with Coach every day, and so I feel great about it. I think the city, for us, we've got this practice facility. Obviously we're in the city of Detroit playing, so we're full of community and so on. So everything, it seems to be coming together. And then we had the good fortune of getting the #1 pick, and we didn't really expect it, honestly. We haven't had the best luck, in the lottery. So I feel, it's almost, you have to compose yourself. And I woke up this morning, I felt like we won already. We haven't won a game yet, but that's the way I felt. It was like we won, but we know we got a lot of work to do. And so I feel excellent, Keith, about where we're at, but I also know just through my own experiences and just the way life goes, we just got to go to work. We go to work, we have a great foundation.
We'll go to Bob Winowski.
For Tom and maybe also for Troy, Bob Winowski, Detroit News, when did you know, was it talking to Cade or watching, when did you know he was the guy in your mind? You said you kept testing him. What pushed it over the top? When did you know and how did you know?
I mean, I'll take it first, and then you might give actually the toughest answer here. But, well, first, I mean, how could you not know right up front that the man has it? And, you know, he also is known, which I think we've loved, just to be a great leader and a great connector. So, you know, we went through a lot with Cade because, you know, we just have to test it. This is a huge decision for us. And so along the way, you know, we really believed that Cade was the best player, the best overall player, and also franchise changing. You don't really get it that often. There was a lot of great players in the draft, and each one of them, the top 4 or 5, could have gone number 1. So I think Cade, in a way, had his hands full, even though, you know, he was the projected number 1. There's tremendous players in this draft. We knew, up front, we knew that he probably was, but you got to meet the man. And we spent some time with each other. Cade came out to LA, and we had great conversations. We put both our families together, and we had a nice dinner of like 17 of us, I think. And we talked about everything. Cade and I were also able to split off and talk not just about basketball, but about life. And I was really, really impressed with that. Like, in fact, I think I told my friend George, you know, I was so impressed. I said, damn, I hope he can dribble well because, you know, that's all we got to do now because as a man, and, you know, he's just built really well. And Cade, you've said it too, like, you've been around leaders, so that's why you can lead. You know, your family, your mom, your dad, like, they're leaders, your brother, your sister, I hear, takes care of you quite a bit. I have sisters, so I appreciate that. But, so I think, you know, and maybe Troy, you could finish that, but we didn't take it for granted. Just because everybody says it, like, you have to touch and feel it. And he really passed every test, and maybe we even overdid it. I don't think so. Troy, no. So, but we kind of knew up front, and then, again, a lot of talented players, and we had to really take it to the end.
Yeah, Bob, you know, I think that from the onset, people, you know, thought I was just being cliches when they say we wanted to run a process, and we did, and we landed here for a reason. We got the right guy in the draft, we got the right guy for the organization, and the connection that we got, that we had with him through this process will propel us into the future. But, you know instantly, but you have to run a process like anything else. So we ran our process, and like I said last night, we landed here and excited to be here with Cade.
Can I say one thing, Kevin, Kerry, and Keith? I want to say this. One question I asked all the players is, do you make your bed in the morning? Do you make your bed? And he passed that test too. So he made his bed and he started his day off the right way. But to go with what Troy said about all the players, and including Cade also, you know, the person first to go with, to fit into the players we already have here, they fit that test also. They have the same personality, same characteristics, and that's what we want to make sure, not only with Cade, but with all the players.
We'll go to Vinny Goodwill.
Good afternoon, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. This is for Cade. Last night, Troy compared you to Larry Bird. Grant Hill, who I've talked to, says that his game compares favorably to yours. When you hear things like that, what does that do for you? And secondarily, what separates you from other players, you know, your age, whether it's maturity, athletically? What do you see in yourself that maybe you don't see in other guys?
Well, hearing my name in those, sentences with guys like that, I mean, it's surreal, knowing that those are legends, that, some of the best guys to ever play the game. But I think it just gives me more confidence to know that, Troy Weaver's a guy that really knows basketball. So for him to put a name like that besides my name, it gives me confidence to know that I can get to that point and that's something that I can achieve is that level. So, I'm blessed to be in this position. I'm happy that, Pistons took me with this pick. And I'm excited to, contribute to what they got going on as much as I can.
Anything else from our media here with us? I got one more from Keith, and then we'll turn it to our Zoom.
For Dwayne, when you're handed a guy like Cade, who is a 6'8" playmaker, can play a lot of different positions on both ends of the floor, how much does it open up lineup possibilities for you?
Well, he's a multiple positional player, and on any team, Keith, you got to have multiple ball handlers, playmakers. He can do that. Killian can do that, so they can play together. And he can play also a small forward position if you want to play small. Put Jeremy at possibly at the 5, but so he checks a lot of boxes from that standpoint. But one thing all these players have that fit is their basketball IQ. All of them are high level IQ guys, and Cade starts that. But and Tom said it too. He connects everybody, whether he's at the 1, 2, 3. It really doesn't matter. Cade can be that connector for any lineup we have.
Josh, for our media friends joining us on Zoom, I'll turn it over to you. Josh, you may be on mute. Can we get sound? In this day and age of virtual press conferences, there's always a little bit of technology issue. Thank you for patience. Okay, I'm going to call it for right now, and we're going to move on. With that last question from Vinny, we'll end the media availability there. At this time, I'd like to ask the players, Troy, Dwayne, and Mr. Gores, to do the customary shot with the jerseys. So if all of you can rise and circle to the front of the stage, I'll get you in order here. Let's give everybody a round of applause too while we're here. We good, cameras?
It's tough to hear. I'm glad I took it before you did. I need you back. You got back to me on that.
How do you keep him?
I did. I already told you.
Players, yep, and I'll see. Okay. Guys, we're gonna go do photos for the Boys and Girls Club kids. Oh, yeah. I got you.